Hello, this is Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to the 12 days of Halloween, and we're at the halfway point, day 6. So I'm so happy you're able to join me tonight and see what I have in store for you tonight. So this series of lives have been focusing on having some quick and easy projects for Halloween. With Halloween being 2 weeks from today. So this will give you some time and some ideas to come up with some creative projects on your own. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you're joining me during the live, please say hello in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching on the replay, still say hello so I can give you a shout out back. And of course, if you're watching on my YouTube channel, again, say hello so I know where you're watching from. So tonight we're using the pick of the patch again, like we did last night, and we're just using the pumpkins and the Happy Halloween. So we're using these 2 pumpkins, we're using the Happy Halloween, and we're using the coordinated punch tonight. So that's what we'll be using for supplies. And we're going to be making a fun trick or treat card. So I have my little cheat sheet so that I can tell you what we need for cardstock. And don't worry, you don't need to take a screenshot. I will be posting this in the comments after the video is completed. So tonight we're going to need some basic black cardstock. So we need a half a sheet that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and I already scored it on 4 at 4 1/4. You need a scrap of basic white, which I have here that I'm going to be stamping my pumpkins on. I need a scrap of old Olive Cardstock, which I am going to be punching out my stems to go along with my pumpkins. And I'm sorry, my computer just went someplace else. So sorry about that. Let me get back to where I was. Oh, it's on a completely different, let's go back. Sorry, I tried to keep things on my computer so I can see what's going on, and it just kind of went somewhere else. So, we also need a piece of basic black that measures 3 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then we need a smaller piece of basic black that measures 3 3/4 by 1 3/8. For the designer series paper, I'm using the Trick or Treat again. I showed this piece earlier in our 12 days of Halloween, and I cut it out with the deckled circles. This time we're keeping it just like that. We also need 2 other pieces, and I'm using the houndstooth, the white and the black houndstooth, and that measures 3 3/4 by 1 3/8. You need 2 of those. You're going to need 3 pieces of basic white that measure 4 inches by 1 5/8. And then, of course, you need, for the inside of the card, you need a piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And so I'm going to do the stamping on this part first so that we can get this part done on our card. So I am going to be stamping the Happy Halloween on the inside, and then I'm going to be punching a pumpkin that we're going to attach on the inside as well. So I'll be doing that on the scrap paper. So I'm just going to stamp our Happy Halloween right in the upper center of the card. So we have our greeting there, and then we can have room still to write a little message. And so let's stamp some pumpkins here. So I'm going to be using 2 sizes. I'm going to stamp, one of the smaller ones. So let's just get that inked up with pumpkin pie. And we'll stamp that one. And then one for the outside and one for the inside of the card. I'm going to stamp the larger pumpkin. Here's our second one. Got a little scrap of paper on my ink pad. Just get that off. There we go. And I'll stamp that. Okay, so the next thing we need out of our stamp set that will be stamping in black is the face, the pumpkin face. So let me just grab that out of our stamp set and mount it on a block. There we go. And we're going to use the Memento black ink for that. So we're going to stamp each of our pumpkins with a face. And there we go. So I am going to just use my scissors to cut these out so that I can put them through the punch. There we go. And just to make it a little easier. So this one's going to, I totally punched this one, or stamped this one wrong, but that's okay. We're just going to carefully go around that, and I'll end up with a larger pumpkin that I can stamp later on, which is fine. So there's one of our small ones, and now I am going to punch out the two larger ones. There we go. One's going to go in the inside and one's going to go on the outside of the card. So I'm just lining that up. I really love using the punches. I just think they're so easy to use and just make it fun. Okay, so now we have just a small piece of Old Olive. Oh, it's right here, because I need to punch 3 of our vines out. I mean our stem out. There's 1, 2, and let's go for a 3rd one. 3. Okay, now we are done with the punch. And we're done with the stamp. So let's start putting things together. So on the inside, I am going to put one of our pumpkins, and I'm going to get the liquid glue to add just a little dot. Don't want too much. To the back. I'm just going to hold that down for a second. And then I'm going to adhere this with some snail. Excuse me, I said snail. It's now Stampin' Seal. Sorry about that. There we go. And we're just going to put this right here on the bottom. And then I'm going to add some Stampin' Seal, and this is going to go on the inside of the card. So let me just move some of these pieces out of the way. Use my bone folder to give it a nice burnish and nice crease. And this is going to go on the inside of our card. So the inside is done. There we go. Now we can work on the front. So let's just start putting our pieces together. So this piece of Designer Series paper is going to go on, layered onto that piece of basic black. There we go. And we have 3 pieces of our basic white, and we're going to be putting the designer series paper each of those. This is just another way to add some fun layering to your card. So we're going to actually be putting these white strips on the front of the card to just give it a nice background. So the white will be going onto the black, and so these white pieces will be going directly onto the black. And so we have this nice design here. So I'm going to start with my top and my bottom pieces and put those on first, and then I can center my centerpiece. And we just finished that row of, I am not going to press these down all the way because I want to make sure I've got them lined up correctly. And I'm just going to take a quick second and change my tape. I always have a refill handy. There we go. This is really quick and easy to change, and then you're right back ready. I just always make sure to pull out any adhesive that's built up on the inside. Just takes a second to do so, and we're back rolling again. So let's add to this piece. And this will go right on the bottom. Again, I'm going to layer them, but not push them all the way down yet, so that when I put this middle piece in, it is, I can center it the way I want it to be centered. There we go. And it fits nicely. Good. So now I can push those down. So that's what the front of our card is going to look like. I'm going to grab some dimensionals to adhere to the back of my Trick or Treat designer series paper. I always try to put at least one dimensional in the middle so that when the card goes in the envelope, it doesn't flatten out, so that middle piece has a little bit of dimension as well. It's one of my favorite types of adhesive. And then this is going to go right centered onto the front of the card. There we go. So that is nicely done. And now I'm going to add my pumpkins. So I'm going to take and add a stem to each of them with just a little bit of glue. So let me just get out my liquid glue again and just put a little drop on both of them. There we go. And my larger pumpkin, I am going to use adhesive to attach. And I am going to have it right in the corner of the Trick or Treat. So my stem is right by that T. And then I'm going to use more dimensionals to pop the small one up. So because it's small, it really only needs 2 dimensionals. This card is so cute. I love the designer series paper and how you can use it in so many different ways. And I'm going to pop this one up a little bit. So there we go with our 2 pumpkins. And then of course we have a pumpkin on the inside. Now let's get a little bit of bling. Let me just put this out of the way. So I have here the adhesive back sparkle gems, and there are some black ones in this package. And that's what I plan to use. So again, a simple card. Let me just rip this package open. It doesn't want to open for me. There we go. We got our gems now. And I am going to start. I like to put it in kind of a triangular shape. So I am going to put a large one right down here near the pumpkins, and then I'm going to take 2 small ones and put them closer together right here at the top. And so there we have it, a quick and easy, delightful Halloween card. And the Happy Halloween's on the inside with another pumpkin, and quick and easy to make. You could do this design with any fall designer series paper you have. You could even stamp an image here, but it's just a nice way to add a background that has some, dimension to it, some division to it, and kind of breaks up the background with the white. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Tomorrow night we'll be making another treat for our little ghouls that might be coming to visit us on Halloween. And again, thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I'll be back Friday night at 6 for Fun Fold Friday, and then Sunday night as well for Simply Stamping Sunday at 7. But every night from now until October 23rd, you can see me at 8 o'clock right here for the 12 days of Halloween. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me.